Space is hard, according to Elon Musk. That's what he said yesterday when he discovered the rapid, unscheduled disassembly of his Starship number 34, which went kablooey and left a big pattern of fireballs over southern Florida and caused a lot of air traffic to get diverted between Florida and the Caribbean, Cuba, and so forth. A lot of air traffic had to be diverted over that, but also we have the case of the Intuitive Machines lunar lander Athena, which tipped over. So, my friends, space is hard. And I've had an old saying similar to Musk from way back that I coined myself when I was doing my own rockets with the Halo and Heart programs. I come up with Allison's laws of rockets. I said, rockets go boom. Rockets have always gone boom, and rockets always will go boom. Our job is to make them go boom a little less often. And part of the Musk approach here is to learn through trial and error of flying things, build them and fly them. And that is really the best way to learn anything. You have to break something to really learn the lessons in engineering. His program, even though he blows up a lot of stuff, it's a lot cheaper in the development than a program that tries to get every little nut and bolt absolutely correct and has armies of engineers working on it. And still, there's the unknown unknowns that you don't know unless you fly stuff. You don't find them out until you really try things out. And so that's what they're doing. And we'll go into his in a minute. But first, we're going to go back to and talk about this business of the lunar lander from Intuitive Machines, the Athena probe, which, well, my friends, it has been declared dead. Yes, it landed on the moon and tipped over sideways in a crater. So this was the second attempt by Intuitive Machines to land on the moon in not much over a year. You know, the first one was called Odysseus, and it was pretty similar to this one. They're both, 15-foot tall robotic spacecraft, and Odysseus fell over shortly after landing. And there are those that say that was actually the first commercial landing on the moon, a successful one, but since it tipped over, many are counting the landing that occurred Sunday, Firefly's Blue Ghost to be the first successful mission. So I'll leave that up to you guys to debate. You can tell me in the comments below what you think about that. But that private robotic lander, Athena, is no longer working. So it was kind of a sad thing. We do know that it was intended to land on the moon on a place called Mons Moten, which is a flat top mountain about 100 miles from the south pole of the moon. The reason we're interested in the south pole of the moon is because we believe there's permanently trapped water ice in the permanently shaded craters and regions of the moon which don't get any sunlight. However, landing on top of a mountain, would they have really detected that much water? That's hard to say. And they did miss their landing spot by about 800 feet. And in the case of their first lander, Odysseus, it's believed to tipped over after, I guess, one of his foot pads was on a rock or something. So it basically tripped on a rock. This time, this one kind of landed pretty much sideways, which is kind of sad because they had quite a few missions on this lander. One of them was a robotic rover, which would have been the first robotic rover from the United States to actually traverse the moon. And it was called the Mobile Autonomous Platform, or MAP. And it was built by Colorado-based Lunar Outpost Organization. And it was also going to test cellular communications equipment area and things like that. So that was an interesting experiment. They also had a little hopper that was supposed to hop around on the moon and go hunting for water ice. And they had a drill. The drill had the intention of drilling into the lunar regolith at some depth. And this was a NASA-sponsored drill to determine if they could detect water ice and other volatile materials in the lunar regolith. And we don't have soil on the moon like we have on Earth. Soil is organic. On the moon, what you got is a surface that's covered with shattered rock from all the cratering and activity. But that experiment was known as the Prime 1 experiment. Basically, a drill rig, kind of like you ever seen the movie Armageddon, except it was planting nukes. But it was a drill. And so it's a shame that did not get exercised. We lost that opportunity. You might recall also that similarly to these two landers that tipped over back in January of 2024, the Japanese sent a lander to the moon. It pretty much landed on its nose. That was a smart lander for investigating the moon, also known as SLIM. I covered that in one of my videos. So it's tough. Landing on the moon is not easy. So that's one of the reasons we celebrate the Firefly mission, the Blue Ghost, which landed, because it is actually still functioning on the moon. And I'll show you in a little bit. It actually captured a very interesting picture of the sunrise on the moon. So they wanted to get that one on the moon to cover the entire lunar day. So they landed it right about its sunrise on the moon. Beautiful. That's kind of a beautiful notion. Nobody's ever got a picture like that from the moon. I'll show you that to you in a little bit, guys. So hang on to that. And I'm going to show you a little bit of video of Starship 34 having a meteoritic, how do you say it, re-entry from its rapid unscheduled disassembly. Boom. And I'll show you a little bit of video from that too, from the SpaceX videos. I'm permitted to do little short snippets as long as I editorialize them without getting a strike, I hope. Although some places will try to hit you if you show something from a nanosecond, but you're supposed to have certain rights to use things like that. But anyway, that little miniature hopper though that was going to come out was called Gracie. Now, guys, I don't know if that was, Gracie was from, what was his name? George Burns and his girlfriend Gracie for so long. I don't know. But in any event, so I've always thought we should name a lunar probe Alice. Pow, to the moon, Alice. I always thought that should be the name of any lunar lander, Alice. But, from the honeymooners, y'all might remember Jackie Gleason was always going, pow, to the moon, Alice. Well, that's just me. But anyway, so they did get a little bit of data from this landing. So all wasn't lost. All wasn't lost because that big lander platform is called a Nova C. But it did capture data for NASA's Prime 1. It wasn't able to drill, but they did, before they lost power, extend the drill bit. They extended it fully, retracted it, and they were satisfied to know that it could operate in the harsh environment of the moon. That was some good data to get. So they were happy with that. They also detected some elements that were probably kicked up from the landing itself on the moon with some of their instruments. So all wasn't lost in that endeavor. That's the good news. So you might say they accomplished a few objectives, but look, it wasn't able. Solar rays wasn't pointed to the sun. It lost power, and they declared it to be dead. Jim, she's dead. And if you hear some racket down here, I got an out of control cat who's a real rastus right now. Pardon me for that. He don't have an off switch. I really look for one. I can't find it. He's a kitten. I got to leave him inside for the moment. So we're going to catch this sunrise photograph here in a minute. Just give me a second to pull up the right thing here. And now I'm going to do a screen share. Give me one momentum, please. These things require a little coordination. My cat is making a lot of racket, distracting me. Share. We go, and bada boom, bada bang. What happened here? There we go. Let's see if we can enlarge this. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Sunrise on the moon. Now, Athena also captured video landing, so it's got some good video too. You can check those. You can find those on the internet. So we are going to collapse this view because I am going to take you a little bit to some of the Starship things. Now, with Starship, we had the launch yesterday of Starship 8, the full stack, both the booster, super heavy, and the Starship second stage on top. I don't know why they got to call them both Starship, but that's what they do. So we're going to go over here to look at this. If this hasn't done something wonky on me. Oh, I hate it. No, I had it dialed up to the exact position I wanted to play it, and it's changed on me. Just switching through the screens. This has done the same thing. Yeah, never mind. We'll just talk about it. We'll go to this video. I hate the SpaceX website. I had everything dialed to the minute I wanted to show you, and I'm not going to redo it. It won't let you download the video from there anyway. But what happened was it looked like that before you get to this image below here, that there was some gas that escaped in the engine compartment. It really looked like that. What happened is they lost the three center engines and one of the outboard engines immediately on that flight. They lost four engines simultaneously. They only had two left. So they lost the steering control with the three center engines, and it started tumbling. Well, tumbling booster, a tumbling upper stage in this case, is not going to survive long, especially when it's got no attitude control. So indeed, it broke apart, and that's what you see here. So this one we can image here. See if I can turn off the sound, just hear a little background sound people making there. And we're going to play this for a second. You can see it coming in. Yeah, a long streak across the sky going over somebody's building. Now, this had some pieces, this ship was designed for re-entry. Some of the pieces may have actually impacted on the ocean somewhere. This is why they had to rearrange flights. And so we'll look at some of that here. Some flights that might have been rearranged. That's another image of the particles. That's even a better one. So blow that one up. Kill the sound there. There we go. Look at that, guys. That's a different image of the stuff coming down. I think this is the same flight. Anyway, they all get mixed in together sometimes because the previous Starship did pretty much the same thing. It also had gases in the, I think, let's see, that one was from the previous flight. This shows you pretty much how they had to reroute some of the air traffic because it was a hazard to air traffic all at once when all this stuff started coming in. And this guy said, this is not funny. No, it was a major reroute of several airlines. I'm surprised that they were permitted to fly in the first place while this was going on. So that's what happened there. Let's see here. See what else we find on this. I think some of these articles are kind of mixed between this flight and the previous one. Here we go. I think this one is the latest one. Check the date on it. So I think this shows a few pieces, less pieces coming down. Yeah, March 6th. So this is the latest right here. I'll try to blow this up if it'll let me.
I just saw that Starship blew up. There it is.
Look at that. That's some of the final pieces that's making it on down farther. Some of those other pieces have already burned up. Now, this is out of the ocean, guys. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? And some of these are still burning up. So there you go. Space is hard. Rockets is hard. Rockets go boom. They've always go boom and always will go boom. Allison's laws of rockets. Maybe a good reason to come up with something besides rockets, right? Oh, someone goes, woo, 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 woo. If we can do it. But when Elon has relied on rockets, maybe we're all stuck with them. Jeez. But some of us have suspicions that there's other things out there. Can we get access to it? Apparently Elon, for all his power and money, can't do it, won't do it. I don't know what the situation with that is. I've covered that in a previous video too, my friends. But right now we seem to be stuck with a rocket ride. So baby wants a ride, baby wants a ride, wants a rocket ride. A little air guitar. I gotta have a little fun with this, guys. Fortunately, nobody was on the Starship, and hopefully they'll get all this stuff worked out before they do this. Now, one of the things about the landing that struck me of interest, I wanted to show you. To me, it's just amazing the way they land these things. That super heavy booster is ginormous, and have it come in and get caught by chopsticks in the air is amazing. It's got to come down near this launch gantry. That's an ink pen. Can't find an ink pen right well now. That ain't be a good. Well, that's fair enough. I saw an ink pen, but I'll find some chapstick. So you're coming in, and you really want, you want to keep angles pretty similar, because if you come in like this, you can be burning the gantry, and you also got a lot of risk, a collision with the gantry, which destroy the gantry, the booster, and make for one ugly day at the launch pad. And this one did come in kind of at an angle, but they managed to straighten it up and catch it with the chopsticks. So I am totally amazed they've done that, but they've only had now, I think, 3 catches on the chopsticks. That is a very sporty thing to do. Just because you have a few successes don't mean that will continue to be a success. That don't mean that's really the long-term solution. How to capture that thing or land it. It does save them the massive landing gear, which is what Elon was trying to do, but there's a lot of risk in that. You got to worry about the winds, booster outs, loss of control. There's just a lot that can go bad trying to capture a heavy lift booster like that. But they even tries it. They even tried it. That's gutsy. That is gutsy. They got some big ones to do that. So my hats are off to them over that. But there's talk that they won't be doing that next time. Maybe they'll land it on a barge at sea. That might make more sense because they won't have to have as much fuel to come back as far. It might be a good trade-off for that. Personally, I really think they ought to be launching and catching them or landing them at sea because the energy in that booster is tremendous. It could throw debris for miles and miles and miles. And the civilian communities in the area are, in my humble opinion, at risk of that kind of thing. So now they do have a couple of big ocean platform type barges they developed. They're just oil drilling platforms that they've acquired for the prospects of maybe doing that down the road. I hope they will take that mode in the future just for safety's sake. But hey, we'll see where they go with it. They've done some amazing stuff with SpaceX Starship program. And I'm looking forward to see what comes next. We know that they did have one that actually went into a reentry mode. It had some issues and some of it started burning up. But, build a little, fly a little, and learn a lot. That's what SpaceX is doing. They're learning a lot. They've done things that nobody else think to do. It's the world's biggest rocket ever flown. Hands down. Hands down. Very powerful rocket system. So kudos to SpaceX for that. And guys, keep looking up because there's a future in space. We all hope. I'm going to say thank you for watching. And with that, Greg out.